So I promised you another video, and here goes. Now the good news is, and I do promise this, the last video was 30 minutes long, and I can assure you this one is not going to be 30 minutes. Hopefully nowhere near. So today is day 10 since I started my keto eating regime. I'm trying not to use the D word, you know, the DIET, because I really don't think of what I'm doing as that. I've adjusted to a much healthier lifestyle, eating wise. If you look at what I've actually given up, I've given up carbohydrates, I've given up sugars, and I've given up processed food. And I've also massively reduced the amount of fizzy drink that I was drinking. So let me give you some examples from a diet drink perspective. Obviously, it's the additives, the stuff they put in those to make them taste better. And on average, I guess I was drinking probably 8 cans of Pepsi Max a day. So, I don't know, quick maths, that's probably getting on for nearly 3 litres a day. Now, I allow myself 1 can with my lunch and 1 can with my dinner. I'm kind of a 2 meal person as well. I am allowed a 3rd meal or a snack. For example, I'm just going to show you one of my snack options. This is a spicy meats and cheese pack from Morrison's. It has pepperoni, chili cheese, and spicy chorizo in it. It's lovely. You can probably get 2 snacks out of each pack. Each pack, what was it, is £2. So you're getting a snack for £1 basically. And as I say, you can eat a bit of cheese, a bit of meat, good protein, good fat, and absolutely 0 carbs, which is obviously what we're trying to do. But I'm a kind of 2 meal person, so I allow myself 1 can with my lunch, which is kind of like a brunch. It's a breakfast, you know, sort of lunch combo. Oh, don't like the way I say combo. And then I'll have my dinner as well. I'm trying to still sort out my sleeping patterns. I'm going slightly off track here. But another thing I'm trying to do is make sure I'm not eating late at night, or in my case, certainly before, a considerable amount of time before I actually go to bed. So yeah, massively dropped from 3 litres to just over half a litre. Obviously carbs I've massively dropped. I cannot imagine how many grams of carbs I was eating each day. Is it grams of carbs? Well, anyway, whatever it's measured in. If you look again, before I started this healthy thing, I was pretty much eating 2 donuts a day. I think they're saying ridiculous, like 30 odd grams of carbs in each donut, so at least sort of like 30 odd. So you might as well say that was 70 grams of carbs. I had a thing for family packs of dark chocolate digestive biscuits, of which again I was sort of eating a family pack, if not every day. I pretty much was eating 1 a day. Certainly 2 packs every 3 days, let's say, worst case scenario. But again, probably 100 grams of carbs just from my biscuits, and then some more on top of that with the donuts. And then by the time you factor in the normal food like potatoes, rice, pasta, blah, 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 probably about, I don't know, 200 plus grams of carbs a day. I don't know what the usual intake is for an adult, but I'm thinking that's pretty high. And now you look at what I'm trying to do now, where I'm trying to keep it around 20 grams of carbs a day, so basically slashed it by 90%. That's kind of, it is a grind, don't get me wrong. I do have the odd craving. I did the other day for a slice of toast, but managed to resist. So yeah, I've made some massive changes. So took out a lot of the diet drinks, drinking a lot more water, a big massive reduction in carbs, a massive big reduction in sugars, and a massive reduction in processed food. Still having the odd bit here and there, but like meals are freshly, well, even though freshly cooked and then frozen, but it's all fresh produce, it's organic where I can. So yeah, 10 days in and made some massive changes. Also exercising a little bit, not where I want to be eventually. I kind of have an image of what will eventually be my perfect day. And if I'm honest, I'm probably only about 50% towards that. But I have given myself a month basically to get to where I want to be. And then obviously I want to keep that going on a daily basis. Again, I think one of the big battles there is how screwed up my sleeping pattern is at the moment. I keep mentioning my sleeping pattern. I'm kind of on a different, it's almost like I'm on a different time zone. But it's not really helping with other things I need to do as well as my training. So I do need to try and bring it in. But for some reason, my brain decides that it just won't let me sleep at night. The other night, as in last night, I thought if I went to bed around 2 o'clock, I'd had a sleep yesterday, sort of after having no sleep the night before. I had a sort of 7-hour stint in the day, which kind of screwed the day up. It was pretty wasted. That was like 1 o'clock till 8, sort of like my whole day gone. And then I went back to, I tried to force myself to go back to sleep at 2 o'clock, and I was actually feeling quite tired. So I went to sleep at 2 a.m. But then miraculously woke up at 3 a.m. and was super awake. Couldn't go back to sleep. Long story short, I think eventually went asleep just after 7. But again, sort of woke up mid-afternoon, so it's just really screwing my days up. So anyway, that's something I need to do to help with the training so I can start doing my perfect days. And also other things that I'm trying to do at the moment, sorting out some personal things and getting the new business up and running. So just, as I say, totally weird how my sleeping pattern is at the moment. Anyway, I'm waffling. On to the good news, bad news. Which way round to do it? So the bad news. The bad news is I did weigh in yesterday. Now, admittedly, I weighed in on a different scale than the one I originally weighed in, but it was the same type. It was the ones I have in Boots. Boot scales in the city decided to break, nothing to do with me, and I ended up having to go to Westcroft to weigh in. When I weighed in, this is the bad bit, I expected to have lost weight. And even though that's not a major priority, it would obviously be a great benefit, and I was hoping. The reason I thought I would is I've managed this time round on the keto regime to hit ketosis and you know, have some pretty good readings with the ketosis, even though I do seem to fluctuate quite a bit and maybe even go in and out of ketosis. And I still expected to have lost weight. I didn't know how much, whether it was going to be a couple of pounds or whether it was going to be a mind-blowing 7 pound plus. Yeah, well, it was 7 pound, but it was plus, as in I put 7 pound on. In fact, it might have even been more than 7 pound now. I'm just thinking about it. Oh God. Anyway, whatever it was a plus. And this is my thing. I'm not bothered by it because, as I say, it's not the priority. It's not the #1 priority. It's not the #2 priority. It's not the #3 priority. So it's not something I'm going to dwell on. It's not something that's going to demotivate me. In the past, I can tell you now that having put weight on, my immediate reaction would be to be pissed off, to be sitting there thinking all of this effort isn't worth it, and I would end up coming off my training, eating all the bad shit, and spiraling down. But no, I am still focused, I am still committed, I am still on it. I am going to have to tweak it slightly. I think possibly the biggest factor in the weight I put on is maybe being a little bit too lavish with the fat content that's in my keto regime. In the past, I think I've made the mistake of not having enough fat content. You know, they talk about 80% fat in your diet. You know, on a meal plate, having 80% fat, 15% protein, and 5% carbs. And I think I've maybe been going a bit OTT on the fat content, thinking I have to, you know, hit that 80%. You know, lots of cheese, lots of cream. So I'm going to reel that in a little bit. I think I also have to adjust portion size, which is fine. This month again has been a bit of a learning process. Obviously I've bagged the majority of my mains up, so I can't really do too much about it this month. I know some of the portions I've been doing have been 650 grams. In reflection, I think 500 would would be more than adequate. And of course, the great thing, if I can reduce the portion size down around 500, it means instead of 4 portions, I get to bag up 5 portions and get an extra week, which reduces the cost of the portions. Again, just one example there. The other day I did a goulash. It might sound extravagant, especially when money's so tight at the moment, but I used sirloin steak in the goulash. I did get the Waitrose, yes, I shop at Waitrose. The Waitrose Essentials, which meant I got 3 nice bits of sirloin steak for just over £10. I would say the total cost of that goulash was probably £25, and I got 6 portions out of it. So if you look at it that way, that was £4 a portion. Now this is fresh produce, some organic, you know, really good quality food, freshly prepared, even if admittedly again frozen and what have you. I argue with anyone to say where you can get that quality of food for £4 a portion. So, you know, it's expensive, and as I say, money is a premium at the moment, but definitely something we're trying to manage whilst, you know, still being able to keep to what we want to be eating. So that was the bad news, £7 put on. I think at least £7, so I'll have to double check. But the good news, okay, and this really is good news. I promise I'm going to be finished in 15 minutes, by the way, so no more than 2 minutes on this video. The good news is fasting readings, and what I mean by that is that's the first reading in the morning, which normally means I've not eaten for around 14 hours. That don't mean I'm sleeping for 14 hours, but when I last ate, when I do my fasting reading, has been consistently, not once has it been over 6, but the majority of times it's around 5. My blood sugars after meals has never been higher than 9, and a lot of the times it's around the 6 to 7 mark. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I'm talking mind-blowing. Now, over the last day and a half, and I want to see it over a bit of a longer period by the time I do the next video. The other thing is I've dropped my insulin intake. My Humulin, which is the quick release insulin, which I take, or I was taking 2 lots of 24 units a day. I've now reduced to 20 units twice a day. And my Lantus, which is the slow release insulin, I've reduced from 14 to 10. And my blood sugars are still coming out around the same. So I want to reduce it even more. Not yet. I'm going to give it, you know, certainly this week at where we are, and early part of next week I'm going to reduce it again slightly, and just keep seeing if I can reduce it, and keep the same levels of blood sugar readings. That is the goal. So anyway, just clicked over 15 minutes. So quick summary, wrap up. 10 days in, really positive, even with the weight gain. Insulin intake down, blood sugars, amazing results. This low carb diet definitely is the way forward. I'm going to do another video in about a week's time with some more updates. So yeah, feeling great. Just need to tweak things, get my sleeping pattern in order, and go from there. So that's it. If anyone's got any questions, if anyone's got diabetes, knows anyone who's got diabetes and wants to ask any questions, feel free. I'm always happy to share what I've learned so far. I'm not saying I'm an expert, a guru, or anything like that, but I'll do what I can to answer any questions. Take care, everyone. Bye.